the state, giving our message out there. We're here to tell you tonight, God is doing amazing things through Duck Dynasty. I think we give him a little praise for that.
Amen.
A lot of people, when they really connect to the show, and so they compare it to other TV shows that have been on the past. The one we hear most is probably Andy Griffith, which I can see that. I hear a lot of people say it's like the Beverly Hillbillies. I definitely can connect to that. I think that's pretty good. Most people miss a great reference, if you really think about it, Sanford and Son, because Mom is a hoarder. Or at least that's what the television show says, right? The show that I connect with the most, though, me personally, being the oldest son, obviously you see I don't have a beard. So sometimes I have a problem connecting. I tell people I'm Jacob in a family of Esau's. You know, that's my story. But the show that I really relate to the most is The Munsters. Now it's easy to see why, right? You look at The Munsters, it was a family of monsters that had a beautiful blonde cousin, and her name was what? Do you remember? All right, 6 people remember that her name was Marilyn. Now you see what happens to me, right? She sort of had a complex. She thought she was ugly because she lived in a family of monsters and didn't quite relate. I can totally relate to Marilyn Munster. Show the next picture. There you go. Now you see why to Marilyn Munster. I preached at our church at Westway Road for the last 10 years, worked there for 20 years, just came back to the business, but I've always kind of been the beard wrangler, is what I call it. But to let you know, our family, they weren't born with beards, contrary to what most people think. You see right there. There's Willie and Jace and Jeff with a few whiskers there at Mom. So you see, there was a time when none of us had beards. Now, but you got to understand that we're all different personality-wise as well. And the way I'm going to illustrate that to you tonight is by talking to you about loud dogs. How many of you in here have a loud dog back home? All right, quite a few of you. Now, loud dogs, of course, are great because they're hunting dogs, and we're obviously a big hunting family. The black lab, when you think about him, he or she, they're the go-getters, no doubt about it. I mean, they'll break ice, they're whimpering by the truck, they're ready to go. And they know exactly when hunting season starts, trust me. And ours are always ready. That's sort of like Dad and Jace. They love to hunt. They don't want to miss a day. And that doesn't matter if they got the flu, somebody's sick, somebody's got something to go to, they're going to go hunting and then go there. Sunday morning, they go and hunt, then they come in their camo to church. Duck feathers and hair and everything. They're the black lab. Now the yellow lab, he or she, they're a little more domesticated. They're a great hunting dog, no doubt about it, but they can stay home, watch over the kids as well. They make a great family pet. And that's sort of like me and Jeff. We love to hunt, no doubt about it, but we can stay home and sleep in. We don't mind. I mean, we can miss a day, it's not going to kill us. Now the chocolate lab, he's a mix of these two. That makes him a little kooky, a little crazy, a little undependable, you never know. I mean, it may be a great dog, or it may not be fit for anything. That's Willie right there. Because Willie's all over the road. And most time you see him on the show, CEO, boss, and he's getting everybody lined out, but Willie's also crazy. I'm just here to tell you tonight. I mean, he's the one you got to watch out for. But now, Si. What kind of That's the only lab I could think of that would really fit Si's personality. Most people ask me when we go on the road, is Si really like he is on the show? I'm here to tell you tonight, Hardeman, Si is worse than he is on the show. Now, Si, you see, when you look at him through the years, they've been unkind to Uncle Si, no doubt about it. He blames it on the military, but I don't know about that. Si is a wonderful, godly man. I will tell you that, though. Si's crazy. I mean, he does all kind of kooky things on the show, but But Si loves the Lord every Sunday and Wednesday, and when we're in town, not on the road, he's right there at White Ferry Road. He sings to the top of his lungs. He can't carry a tune in a bucket, but he sings and makes a joyful noise to the Lord. He's been married 43 years. He's got 2 grown children and now about to be 8 grandsons. That is a quality man, and we ought to praise God for him. Amen. Tonight, the guy's going to be speaking to you. There's Dad when he was a football player at Louisiana Tech University. And of course, Dad, the years have really, grown on him as well. And so when you look at him now and you look at him as a Duck man, you're thinking, man, how did that happen? He played at Louisiana Tech University, and he was the starting quarterback ahead of another guy you may have heard of named Terry Bradshaw, who was his backup. Now, Terry went, of course, to win 4 Super Bowls, and so he recently said, when he was back home in our area, that he has Dad to thank for chasing those Ducks for him to win those 4 Super Bowls. So I thought that was pretty good of Terry to say. Dad and Mom ran into him out at LAX Airport in LA recently when Dad was making an appearance out there, and they got to catch up on some old stories. It had been 44 years since they had seen one another. It was a great blessing for them to be together. Of course, Terry was going through all of his injuries. I broke this, they took the cartilage out of that, and this is broken, and all my hair's gone, Phil, and I lost all my teeth, and all my women have left me. And he was singing a pretty sad song, and Dad said, I think I made the right move going for the Ducks. What do you think, Terry? A lot less stressful, no doubt about it. When Dad graduated from Louisiana Tech, he worked on his master's while he worked at a little high school, Junction City High School. And there's where he coached and taught, and that's really what he thought he would do. He liked to be able to teach because you got off, during the holidays, and it was a good time to duck hunt. He loved to hunt, no doubt about it. Unfortunately for Dad and Mom and my family, that was a period of time when he wandered away from the faith that his parents had. And so from 18 to 28, that was a turbulent decade for Dad and also for our family. And the further he drifted away, the harder it was on our family, but also the harder it was on his own relationships. And so that was a very difficult time for us. But I tell you what, God put a person in his life that not only made a difference for us and our family, but also helped lead him to the Lord. And this happens in a lot of families. They say behind every great man is a good woman. I'm telling you, behind this great man is a great woman. That's Miss Kay, my mom. Reasons why you love my mom is the reason we love my mom. She's a lot of fun. We call her a TV diva, but she really is great, and she's really helped hold our family together during a difficult time. When Dad became a Christian when he was 28 years old, great things began to happen in our family. But maybe the greatest thing that's led to everything today is that out of that clarity of mind, he made a duck call. He took an existing duck call, he changed it up, he made the first double reed duck call with a tip on the end, and Duck Commander was born. But I'm telling you something, not many people knew about Duck Commander or wanted to know anything about Duck Commander, so it was a difficult business to get started in. So we commercial fished the Ouachita River to pay the bills. And commercial fishing is a faith-based business. I'm going to tell you something, after growing up in a fishing family, I now know why Jesus picked 4 fishermen to be part of that 12, because those guys knew what it meant to have faith. 2 different times Jesus had a great catch to be able to get through to those fishermen. God does great things when we give him credit and when we ask for it. And that's exactly what happened to us. We didn't know it at the time, but God was teaching us humility because he had something really amazing planned for our family. And this fishing is what started it. It paid the bills and allowed us to build that. We built duck calls, a lot of trial and error. A lot of time spent in the duck call shop, and the working crew was my grandpa, my dad, myself, and 2 younger brothers. And Jeff was just a baby on the scene. That's what started Duck Commander. And so out of that, Dad began to speak. And Dad would go out and talk about duck calls and how good they were. And then he began to preach to some of those audiences. And now all of a sudden they began to ask him to come speak at churches and come speak to groups. And that began to build. We began filming videos. And those videos are very popular. And we didn't realize that we were just filming our hunting excellence. We were also getting very comfortable in front of people, in front of cameras. See, God was growing us that whole time. For 20 years, he knew what was coming, even if we didn't. All those hunting videos, they turned into an opportunity for a show on the Outdoor Channel. A great blessing that God just put in front of us. And that show quickly became the #1 show on that network. And we thought, well, man, this thing is really something. And then all of a sudden, A&E comes calling. And they began to talk to us about an idea called Duck Dynasty. Now, we all said, there's no way this show will work. We're hunters. Nobody's going to care about watching our family. And boy, were we wrong. The last episode, 9.6 million homes in America, the second highest rated show in all of cable for a bunch of bearded redneck Christians. How amazing is that?
Amen.
God has not only a sense of humor, but a great sense of timing. And he did it with our family, no doubt about it. From video to Outdoor Channel to national television, this group of this family, most of them are bearded, one not bearded. By the way, look for a non-bearded surprise in season 4. I can't tell you anything about it. Just look. I got a verse I want to share with you before Dad comes up. I call it the Duck Dynasty verse. Lisa found it, my wife, whenever we were working on a documentary devotional book. It's Psalm 128. And when I read this, I think about our family. Blessed are all who fear the Lord, who walk in his ways. You will eat the fruit of your labor. Blessings and prosperity will be yours. And we have been very blessed. Your wife will be like a fruitful vine within your house. Doesn't that sound like Miss Kay? Your sons will be like olive shoots around your table. A table prepared where people can say the blessing just like they did in the old days. Join hands, like families should do. Thus is the man blessed who fears the Lord. And that's what our family is all about. I welcome to you tonight to the stage a man who fears the Lord and has been blessed, and also is helping lead a revival